Hi everybody, it's Marcy, and I'm back with a little more work on my little golden book. In my last video, I had made this double pocket and 2 tags for it. And since then, I've gone ahead, I had to go ahead and commit to where I was going to put it in my journal so that I could sew around the pocket and put little tabs on the tags. So it will go in here just like this. And then I just made little tags using the same fabric that I used on my spine. And I think that is going to be really cute like that. So those will go right in there. And then if I decide I want to do more embellishment on them, I can do that later. But I needed to go ahead and commit to where they were going to be so that I would know which direction to put the little pull tabs and which direction to sew my pocket. Okay, so now I have a couple of more pages and I want to use this one that I've cut down the page, and I went ahead and glued it just to a piece of white copy paper, and this one I backed with some dot grid paper. So I'm going to start with this one. And this is going to be pretty simple, I think. Should be. In that I want to cut away my excess paper. And I think this, what I'm going to do with this is referred to as a tip in, but I'm not absolutely certain of that. Let me get this trimmed and I'll show you what I have in mind for this. Okay, so for this one, got to pull my book back out. I want, and again, I had to go ahead and commit to a page so I'd know which way to do it. I want this to be here, but flip out. And so if I put a little hinge on it, I think that's what's referred to as a tip in. And actually, I haven't decided. Well, I think I know what I want to do, and so for this page, the longest I'm going to want that to be to be on the safe side, because I don't want it to get caught up in my at the center of my signature. So I'm going to say at most I want 5 7/8. Okay, now I backed that with copy paper, but on the back of that I've got this little list paper that I thought would make a great little writing space. I don't need the later. Okay, I'm going to put this paper on this side, because this side will be the hinged side. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of lightly mark that. And out my glue stick and add copious amounts of glue to this. Trying to get any air bubbles out. All right. So I didn't get it perfectly straight, but close enough that when I trim it, it won't be evident that it's off by a little bit. So or at least not super evident. Okay. So then, oh, let me unplug my iron. It's fussing at me. Sorry about that. Okay. So now, the way it's going to go on the page, okay. I want it to go here. So no matter what I do, no matter where I do it, I'm going to have a little bit of loss of the image. But I think if I do it, doing it over here, I lose a little bit of her hair and a little bit of that crab. Or if I do it on this side, I lose part of the starfish, her hat, her feet. So that's kind of how I decided which direction I was going to go. And this is just over 6 1/4. And I want five 7/8 at the very most, and I'd probably actually feel better with 5 3/4. So I'm going to score that at the 5 3/4 mark. And then what I thought I would do is put it in like that. It won't get caught. course, I can always put a paper clip to hold it. But I thought I would actually leave the rest of that image there and just fold that over the edge of that paper. Then when it opens out, you've got some, yeah, I'm probably out of frame. When it opens, you've got some nice note space. And if you chose to, you could open it this way to see the entirety of the picture. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And like with a lot of things, I'm going to round the corners a little bit. And I've probably said this before, but one of the reasons I like to round some of my corners is because then the corners don't grab as easily onto stuff. Okay. So that one is pretty simple, I think. And like I said, I'll make a paper clip or something as a closure. But I think that can go right there, and that'll be really cute. It'll flip out. And just because it's what I do, I probably will sew around it before it goes in permanently. But, okay, so that one is pretty well committed to that spot. And it could change spots, but anything that I have to do a specific direction, I like to kind of go ahead and say, okay, that spot is claimed with something, and I'll just hold it there with a paper clip for now. Obviously, I don't even have my pages bound in yet. I've learned as I'm doing more and more and more journals that I don't want to glue everything into my journal without binding my journal, because then the pages are thicker, they're bumpier, so on and so forth, so it's harder to bind. But I do kind of like to have several of the things kind of laid out before I bind the pages in case, like here where I added this lace, I sewed that in. Well, sewing is much easier if the pages aren't already bound in. So I like to wait until I'm a little further in the journal to actually bind in my signatures. Okay, so now I'm ready to move on to this one. And this is a color by number. Okay, and I backed it with some dot grid paper. So I think what I'm gonna do, this was my thought, we'll try it. Worst case scenario, I don't like it and I lose part of a page. Okay, so if I just make that a little fold out writing space, then I'm going to use my bone folder to give it a good crease. And again, I probably will sew around the edges, but I won't sew anything closed like an envelope. So I'm giving it kind of the shape of a simple envelope, but I'm not actually going to sew it closed. Okay, then that could go into a top tuck. And I thought for a top tuck, I've got this strip of leftover, it's just part of one of those workbook pages. There's 6 little 1 1/4 inch pieces of paper. And I've got another little piece of paper here that I can attach them to. So I'm going to take these 2 at a time, and I'm just going to kind of make simple little banner pieces out of them. Cut up the center. Be sure I'm holding my paper together. And then I'm going to cut from the corner to the center, flip it over, and cut from this corner up to the center. I'm just using a little 5/8 inch hole punch to punch out the color key. Okay, sorry about the abrupt cutoff if there was one. My phone got mad, it got too warm, and shut itself off. So, what I think I was saying when it shut itself off was, I'm going to go ahead and glue down these banner pieces. I haven't used my art glitter glue today, and so I still got little goobers on it. Okay. Now, I think what I've decided to do is use some of this baker's twine, if I can find the end of it. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add sort of a bunting sort of on top of my banner, and those will have the bunting will have the color key for the color by number page. All right, and I will cut that off in a minute. I want to give everything time to actually set up and dry. So then I think what I've decided to do is, I don't have a page selected for this yet, but I don't think it will really matter. I think probably what I will do, initially I thought, well, I'll just use that as a top tuck, but I don't think that will work very well. So I think what I'm going to do is I will just use this as a page decoration, and then lower down on the page I'll either put a side tuck or I'll just clip it to the page or something like that, so that this goes with the page. But I just don't know that I think it would work very well. I think this part's going to be too thick for this to just hold it as a top tuck. So, got two more things made. So that's the end of this video. I again will probably sew around this. This I probably will embellish a little more. But at least I've got this part made. Most of these things we'll be revisiting again as I get further in the journal. I'm just trying to get some basic stuff made so that I've got an idea of what I want to do. Anyway, so that's it for this video. Until I see you again, please be safe, stay healthy, happy crafting. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.